Yo, what's up, everybody? We are ready to start the show. Let's get it going. One, two, three. Ah,
Hello, hello,
back
hello.
on another Friday. Yes, I'm Don Dees, in case you
I'm
guys didn't
Carol.
know.
Right.
This is Tierra Monique, the awesome one that keeps
Hi.
us together, keeps our heads on straight, screwed on straight, all of the goodness. Um, I got my little water here because, like I said, I've been doing these workouts now, and I'm trying to
Yeah.
stay hydrated. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? So I got my little ice water going.
Right.
Somebody said ice water wasn't good, but it tastes so good. Like I don't
It
know how
tastes
it could be
so
bad.
good.
Yeah, well, they said it's bad for your throat, but I'm like, I'm not sick right now, so I should be
I
okay,
think
right?
I think it's bad for your throat if you're a singer, because like singers need to have
Oh,
warm water and warm tea to massage their vocal
true.
cords before they start singing. But I
Okay.
love me some good old ice water, especially with
Yeah,
lemon. Mhm.
yeah, ice water, man. I feel like that was my granddad's favorite drink.
Right.
He always had him like a big jug of it. But anyhow, what's up, everybody? How you doing? Those watching live, those checking us out later, whenever you're watching this,
Whenever you're
thank you for
watching.
tuning in, man. Make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We are slowly trickling. I mean, they coming in, okay?
Right.
Like the little subs and whatnot. They coming in, man. But we are glad to see y'all in here. I be trying to like
Yeah.
type in the chat, so I look. I'm not good at like multitasking, but so if
Uh-huh.
sometimes I'll be like, yeah, hey, it's because I'll be in the chat too, because I'm trying to be like everywhere at the one time. Um,
Uh,
you know, but anyhow,
Anyhow.
can you give us the rest of our shameless plug where we need to tell everybody so they can
Sure. So
keep watching
everybody,
us and all that?
please like, share, subscribe, follow, comment for the Way Love Goes podcast. We are on Apple, Anchor.fm, Google,
Hmm.
and everywhere else that you listen to your podcast. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click on that notification bell on the YouTube channel so that you can get every time we go live. Because when we do our episodes, they're always live right now. So whenever
Yeah,
we
yeah.
so they're live. So you gotta be ready. So
You
you
gotta be
gotta
ready.
you gotta be ready. You gotta stay ready so you can
Yeah,
be ready. So
that's right.
tell your
That's
sister,
right.
to your
That's
mother,
right.
to your brother, to your friend, to your enemies, to your coworkers, to your neighbors, your exes, your lovers,
Yeah.
your friends to come and join us on the Way Love Goes podcast. We're all about trying to help people move in the right way of love and relationships and in marriages. So do that.
Yes. And if there's a special episode for somebody that you need them to get something through their head, be like, yo,
Right.
episode 5, here's the link. Text it to
Right.
them. We could say stuff for you that you might not be able to say, but we could say
Right.
it because
Right.
we're just talking to the people. We love everybody. And
Exactly.
disclaimer: I don't think I'm too cool for school. It's just my son broke my glasses, and I still got about a week before the new ones come in, so that's why I'm rocking the
Yeah.
shades over here. All right, so just a little disclaimer there. Today we got us a doozy of a topic, man. It's good. Y'all probably seen it on the little title down there.
Right.
Before I say I do, there's
Before
some
I
good things to think about, to consider,
right.
to process.
Yes.
Um, I I'm happy in my marriage, but even as I was looking at this, I was like, dang, this would have been some good stuff
Right.
to talk about. It could have just enriched it and made it even better.
Mhm.
But what y'all about to see. So we want y'all to be in the comments and tell us your thoughts. And if you got questions on what we say, talk about them. We're gonna put it in there. And well, it's so nice to see y'all in here, man. Say shout out to Erica's in the house, Carol
Hello.
in the house,
I'm from
Toya in the house. Um, yeah, man. So good to see you guys, man. Just be nice and active in here, and yeah, we'll just get it popping. We'll just get it popping. Let me see, man.
Okay.
Let's just dive right in. Let's just
Okay.
dive in. We kind of like got it all over the place, but it's good. Before you say I do, we watched Tiara sent me this clip of
Mm-hmm.
what was it, maybe like 4 or 5 couples on
Right.
Steve
Mm-hmm.
Harvey's show, and they had this like
Show.
marriage conversation,
Right.
and they had some of the biggest takeaways of their marriage. Um, and the question that we wanted to focus on was one that says biggest mistakes people make
Right.
when they say I do.
Mm-hmm.
So let's learn from their mistakes so that
Yes.
we don't make those same mistakes as well. All right. And one other thing I did want to say, because my homie, one of the homies was asking me when I was advertising earlier, it was like, yo, is
Right.
this only about straight couples? And I said, well, our perspective is coming from heterosexual couples for sure, because that's my only experience. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the principles are for couples, period, like just
Right. Right.
relationships. So much of this stuff, feel like you could share it and shout it out to all your homies
Right.
wherever they are on the spectrum of things. All right,
Yeah.
so let's get into these. The first one. Mm,
The first one.
the first one. They say I do, but they really mean I will. Try.
Right.
Sorry, I read. Oh, my
I
delivery
was
was off. Hold on. Wait. Let me rewind that back. Let me rewind that back because I messed that all up. Okay, here we go.
That's okay.
The first one.
That's okay.
They say I do,
Mm-hmm.
but they really mean I will try. I do means I do.
Right.
What do we think about that? Do you? Well, first of all, do you agree with this, the sentiment there?
Right. So I understand what the guy was saying. He was saying that people, when they say I do, they're not really committing to the I do part. They're committing to I'll try to do what I'm telling you that I am
Mm.
vowing to you. So if someone says, if your vows are the traditional vows, which are
Mm-hmm.
what are the traditional vows?
Yeah, like to heaven to
You
hold,
part,
in sickness
having
and
to
in
hold the
health, to
part. Yeah.
death do you
Okay.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that joint, them joint.
I blanked out for a second. So yeah, so they say I will try to do that. I would try to do for better or for worse. I would try to do
Mm-hmm.
to death do us part. I will try to do the things that you need from me in order for our relationship to be successful, but not really committing to I do. And so behind that is I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do, no matter what. Not I'm going to try to do it, because when somebody tries to do it, that means they're not going to put their best effort to make sure that they fulfill what they told you they were going to do. It's, oh, I'll try. You know how it is. Like if somebody says they're going to do something and you ask them to do
Yeah,
it, they go, I'll try to do it. And that means that either I'm do
that's
it
a
or I'm
way
not
out.
going to do it. Yeah, I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it. So don't hold me to that. And just know that if I don't do it, you can't get mad because I said I'll try. So it's like, yeah, like you just said, it's a way out. It's an easy way out to not be, to not basically put your words to the fire so that people can't hold
Yeah,
you accountable for what you said. So yeah, so before you say I do, people, you need to remember that it's not I will try, it's I do. I do.
yeah,
I do. I'm going to commit to. I do is commitment. I am committing to you to love you for better or for worse, to be there for you when you get sick or when you're healthy, to be there when the ups and downs, to cherish you and to do all those things like being patient and kind and caring and preferring someone else over yourself and not being selfish. So it's like I'm committed to doing the work, not I'm going to try and
my
use
bad.
that try as an excuse to not do the work. So yeah.
Yeah, like we gonna get to it in a minute, but Pastor Mildred said, before you say I do, don't do. Don't do. Don't do the do. Don't do nothing till you say I do. Because that's when you really show what you
Right.
about. That's when you say, I'm about this life. I'm about that
Right.
action.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, imagine if somebody actually said that in their wedding vows. They read off the whole thing, and
Right.
then where they're supposed to say I do, they'll be like, well, I'll try.
I'll try.
The wedding would erupt. the parents, everybody would be down. Anyway, so no, that's good. I do means I do, people. So you got to think. So the reason we talking about it now, especially ahead of time for those that are not married yet, or or maybe even if you're headed towards that, but you're not quite there yet. If you're thinking about it, be like, am I ready to make that commitment? Am I ready to step up like that? Number two.
Right.
Thinking you can change someone. You can't go in with an agenda.
Right.
Mercy.
Yeah.
The project.
Yeah, the project. Absolutely.
The project.
Absolutely. If I was disrespectful before I do, I'm going to be disrespectful after I do. You can't go into the marriage thinking that this person is going to change once they say I do. You can't change. Absolutely. You can't change. Like Sean just said, you can't change no one. You cannot change anyone. You can't change. People have to change on their own. So you can't have that idea. You can't have that agenda. I did that. Let me tell you, I did it. I hate cigarette smoke. Hate it. It makes me sick. My ex-husband, still my good friend and the father of my children, he was a smoker when I met him. And because I wanted to be with him so bad, I was like, it's okay. It's okay. I'll just be with him for right now, right? And then when we get married, we can go ahead. I can change that. Well, when we got married, baby, that did not change overnight.
Baby.
He was like, smoking.
Say what now? Say what now?
Right. He was like, you were okay when I was smoking. When you was with me, you were okay when I was smoking. When I was with my friends, you were okay. All this stuff, you can't change it now. And then when I found out I was pregnant a month after we got married, then I was like really like on a mission. Like, okay, you got to stop smoking because when the baby comes, all that. He still did not stop smoking even when my first son came because it was like so our agreement was, well, can you at least take your shirt off before you come in the house? Because I don't want you to pick up the baby and your whole shirt is smelling like cigarette smoke. He did not change because I was nagging and complaining about it. He didn't change until he went on deployment and was out on that water and had a lot of time to think for those 7 months. And then he changed. He changed because he decided to change on his own, not because of me. It had nothing to do with me. So you cannot change anyone. If you meet somebody, I heard this so many times, when you meet somebody and you're dating them and now you're in a serious relationship, you have to ask yourself, if they never change from this day forward, am I still willing to be with them? If they never change from today, am I still willing to be with them? Because you have to accept people for where they are and where they are at that moment. So yeah, secondhand smoke is the worst, but people don't understand that because if you're people who smoke, they're immune to it. Whether it's smoking marijuana or smoking cigarettes, they're immune to it. Now, whatever you do is your business. I'm talking about cigarette smoke. I cannot. Marijuana smoke. I'm all right a little bit, but
like I'm good.
Depending on how strong it is, it can get a little like, wow, that's a little bit. But yeah, so you can't change anyone. You have to let people change on their own, and you cannot. Is as soon as you do that, my marriage suffered in the first couple of years because I was trying to change my husband. I was trying to make him something I wanted him to be, and that you cannot do that. You have to, once you say I do, you need to go ahead and accept that. Once that person puts that ring on your finger, you need to go ahead and accept that. This is who they are. If you don't like it, do not marry them. Do not accept the ring, ladies. When he proposed to you, if there are things about him that you don't feel that you're going to be able to deal with for the rest of your life. Because if David had never, if he had never stopped smoking, it would have been worse. But I was going to have to deal with that because that is who I said I love you to. That is who I accepted the ring from. So you cannot change anyone.
Yeah. Well, I'll add this to it. I'll say, don't go in with the agenda. I think it's unless you live with the person ahead of time, we're gonna get into that. There'll be things that you discover about them because marriage is a whole discovery. And if there are things that you discover and you feel like you want to talk about it, doesn't mean, oh, I got to shut up now.
Right.
You can talk about it and you can work on it together. So, it's not like a deal breaker to say, all right, is this something that we can work on?
Right.
If I didn't know that you was a kleptomaniac and all of a sudden, what happened to my watches though?
Right.
That's a nice purse. What happened to my watches though?
Right.
And you discover that something happened, you'd be like, hey, this isn't good.
Right.
We got to work on this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. If he went to the strip club when you met him, he's gonna go to the strip club after you get married. Just know that it's gonna happen. If she spent all her paycheck on Gucci and Prada and whatever, she's gonna continue to spend all her check when y'all get married. No, she'll be spending your check.
She'll be spending your check.
She's gonna say, "We're as one now. We're as one now."
Yeah.
She said, "Oh wait a minute." Yeah. Carol said, "So what if they suddenly stop using deodorant? Oh, then you need to have a come to Jesus moment with them and say, okay, So I noticed you decided to stop wearing deodorant. Is there a reason? Now, because sometimes, let's be for real. Medically, some people can get allergic to deodorant if they're like aluminum or whatever. And if that's the case, you can just, hey, I found some deodorant that doesn't have aluminum in it, or it may not be, you're allergic to it. Let's work on this." But I just say, be honest. Be honest. Be honest about it. Don't just, go with it, because here's the thing. People go with things because they don't want their truth to break up the relationship. They don't want their truth to stop the momentum of what they're trying to get out of the relationship. So if you're someone who's trying to get married, and I want to marry this person. This is the person I want to be with, but they're doing something that you really is like a non-negotiable. You're like, but if you say something, you're afraid that if you say it, it's going to break y'all up. Then you're in it for the wrong reasons. You're in it for the wrong reasons, because at the end of the day, your happiness and your peace will be disrupted if you continue to be with that person knowing that you don't like what they're doing. So you need to go ahead and address the situation. I'm sorry, look, when I met you, you was smelling good. Now you smell like 500 bags of onions. And we got to go ahead and take care of this, because I can't deal with no funky man. Or I can't deal with no
just come at them with the spray. You're right.
So you just got to have that conversation that is respectful and tactful, but also proves your point without you being like, oh, you stink. Nobody wants to hear that. So, yeah.
You know what? I got a little story about that. I don't think my wife would mind me sharing. It's about me.
Okay.
It's about me. No, I wouldn't put her on blast like that.
Okay.
I do remember early on, I used to think, you know what? We're in love. Everything is all good. Whenever it's time to go have our fun in the bed, let's just get to it. Let's just get right to it. But she actually was like, listen, bro, I love you, man. But before we head in there,
right,
if you could just hit the shower real quick,
right?
Just freshen up, bro.
Freshen up.
It wasn't even like you smell bad. It was just like it would just be more enjoyable if you could just hit the shower head real quick.
Exactly.
Irish Spring, and then we're gonna do our thing.
Dub it up a little bit.
Dub it up just a bit.
Dub it up. Yeah, man. Y'all need to go and freshen up down there too. If you want your significant other to be doing some things downtown, you better go and freshen up. Don't nobody want to smell that, and then you wonder why she don't want to. So I mean, that was a side note, but I'm just like,
I could take this if you gave me that comment like that, Carol. I could handle that. I can handle that.
Yeah.
Or you could make it a whole thing. He's like, let's take a shower.
Let's do it together.
Let's pregame. Let's get the thing. Let's start it. Let's start it off up in there.
Yes.
And when you got your tailgate party, and then the main event. You dig?
Right.
The pre-show. It's possible. All right. Okay. The next one. They don't get or give full disclosure. These are mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Before you say I do, give full
Right.
disclosure.
Right.
Don't have no secrets.
Right. Yeah. No
None.
secrets. No secrets. No
None.
secrets. Again, if you cannot be 100 with your partner and tell them
Hmm.
everything without the fear of them leaving you, they're not the one for you, because the one for you is the one who's going to accept you for everything. It's to go for
Yeah.
y'all. But yeah, you need they will accept you for everything that comes with it, especially if you want to get married. So before you say I do, are you willing to accept everything that comes with your partner? Are you willing to accept it? And you need to be honest with your partner about everything. You don't want it to come out later on at a family reunion. Oh, did you know that he had a baby? This, that, and the third with so and so. And you're like, what? You got a whole other kid? Like, what? Like, and you don't know, or that she, whatever. It's whatever. Whatever the secret
Yeah.
is. You
She
don't want
steals watches.
right. She still watches. Right. Or that she was in prison for 10 years before she came out, and
Yeah.
she her name used to be
And
Sean
she
and now her
knows
name
your
is Sean.
cousin. Right, right.
No,
You're like,
no.
wait, your
Wait a
name
minute.
used to be Jackson.
Did didn't you have an Adam's
Jackson.
apple?
Yeah. I like how much was that laser removal?
What
A
happened?
word? A
What?
word?
And look, and we're saying there's nothing wrong with people who decide to do the, hey, that's your business. If you decide to do the switch, the change, however they say it, that's your business. But you need to be upfront about it.
You
Don't get
gotta
in
be
relationships
upfront
with
about it.
people
What
and
did Dave Chappelle he said he had a joke where he was dancing with this trans lady in a club and he was like, why didn't you tell me? She's well, I was having a good time. I didn't know how you feel. He's like, you knew how I'd feel. You knew how I'd feel.
you knew
You
it.
knew.
So it's like
That's why you didn't say that.
be honest about it. Be honest about everything. Because
Yeah.
they find out about it later, then they're like, okay, well, if I hadn't known this before I married you, I probably wouldn't have married you. And that's why people don't give all the full disclosure, because they're afraid that the person's not going to marry them. But it's like, look,
Yeah.
go ahead and just be upfront. I say be upfront before you get to the part where you're so serious about somebody. Like,
Yeah.
hey, let me see if they can handle my truth right now while we're dating.
That's even better. That's even
Mhm.
better. And the
Right,
th- and here, but here's the surprise, right? You may get the reward of realizing that you were with the person who's really down for you.
right.
If you
Mhm.
actually share something and I
Yes,
mean, if you're full disclosure, but look, man, I got to tell you something.
right,
I don't really know how this is going to make our relationship go. And you
right.
tell them, and then they take a deep breath and they're like, all right, cool.
Mm,
We'll work through it.
right.
That's like a double blessing right there. You
Exactly.
dig?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And
Like Carolyn said, them hairs is gonna reappear.
on the chin. Hey, look,
Uh,
we women, we get hairs on our chin too.
hey, back in the day, it used to be a point of attraction for the women to have facial hair. So it depends.
Not
It
anymore.
depends on who you with.
Who
You
you
know?
with? Who you
Okay,
with?
here's another
Okay.
one. Not
Mm-hmm.
respecting and acknowledging the wisdom and knowledge your spouse or partner has, thinking that you know everything and they can't tell you nothing.
Right.
Kanye in this piece.
Right. Right. That's not good. So it's like, basically, if I am good at something and you're not good at it, then you should respect me when I come to you to give you advice about what you don't know. Now,
Right,
I should be respectful to you and not come to you as if you're some dumb person and say, "Oh, you didn't know that? How you don't know that?" It's all about your attitude and your tone when you're trying to
right,
help somebody. So if we're like this, we're thicker than thieves, right? We are gonna be as one. And before you say I do, you want to be able to acknowledge the fact that I'm going to have some weaknesses that you're going to be stronger in certain areas, and then vice versa. So we're here to help each other. We're on the same team. We're trying to keep going up and going up and going up on another level. So you have to acknowledge that. Don't think that you know everything just because
right.
you think you know everything. Or because somebody never told you that you was wrong. Now that could be another thing too. There are people who grow up in a community where no one has checked them. And then you get with someone who checks you and you're like, oh, you ain't for me. Everybody else is for me. No, nobody has told you the truth in your own community. And now I'm telling you the truth. I love you enough to be honest with you. So yeah,
Right.
what do you think about that?
That's how. Yeah, I mean, that's how you improve, man. Like, you gotta part of your partnership or working with your partner is the fact that y'all are trying to help each other be better. So if
Right.
there's something that you have weakness in, like for me, money is not my strong point, but that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean I can't get better. That
Right.
means you share with me from your perspective so I can learn. I'll be like, oh, okay, next time when it comes around, I'm gonna think about that more. I'm gonna
Right.
try to make a wiser decision when it comes to money or planning or whatever.
Right.
um yeah. Oh, Carol, we are striking some nerves today, aren't we?
Ah!
Right.
Ah!
You know who you are, X. You know who you are. Yeah, no, but I think that's good, man. You got it. You what was it? Okay, so it wasn't a couple. It was TD Jakes was talking. What's his daughter's name?
Sarah Jakes.
Sarah Jakes. She was
Mm-hmm.
writing a book. I don't know if anybody ever seen this clip, but she was writing a book, and she would send a draft to him,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking about one of the regrets that he had. At first, it started kind of as a regret. He was very
Right.
busy, so he would read it and he would be real raw, like, this doesn't make sense. I don't think this part works. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure if this is going to be a good part. You need to change this. And he just would send it to her. He was like, yeah, I did it kind of harsh, and I did it kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, really business like, matter of fact, because I was
Right.
doing things da 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 da. But what he said is that after the book came out, it was successful. He read the book. He shared with her, man, this book is awesome. You did a wonderful and amazing
Right.
job. He
Right.
said, the thing she told him that really hit him was that she said, I appreciate how harsh you were with me before, because now I can trust you when you giving me the compliment. Now you're not
That right.
gassing me up. I
Right.
know that you are going to be honest and you really want
Right.
me to win. And I think it's the same in relationships. If you got a
Mm-hmm.
partner who's gassing you up all the time,
Right.
you're like, bro, you said I look good in the lime green tracksuit. What? Everybody was laughing at me. No,
Right.
they the problem. But if they could tell you
Right.
before you walk out, be like, lime green, really? How about some
Mhm.
jeans?
Right.
How about some jeans? And then
Right.
when later on, you can
Mm-hmm.
trust them. So I would
Right.
rather the person who's honest and harsh
Right.
with me. If they could do it without being harsh, I mean, that's good. But if
Right.
not, that makes it even sweeter, the deal, when they say it. Like my wife, she is very particular. Like, she does not get impressed with a lot of stuff. So when she tells me like a movie's good, or
Right.
something book she read is good, I really believe her, and I think, oh yeah, this probably is good, because she don't
Right.
get impressed with nothing. So
Right.
yeah, I
Yep.
think it's good. Next one, number 5, not saying what you want before you get married and thinking it all works out once you get married. If your
Yep.
partner don't know, your
Yep.
partner doesn't know. You got to tell them what you
You
want,
gotta tell them.
people. You got
You
to
gotta.
tell
You gotta tell them.
them, man.
It's we are not like. Oh, I froze up again. We are not
You
like.
good?
What is that? Avant. That song. I can read your mind, babe.
Mm,
We're not there.
that's a lie, baby.
Right, a whole
Yeah.
lot. No one over is
Mm.
over here psychic. No one can read your mind. No one's telepathic. So you have to say what you want before you get married. And I say it like this. So I had a conversation with somebody today
Oh, just today. Okay.
about marriage. So they were like they wish they had
Mm.
before they got married. They wish they had known that their spouse did not was not going to give them the sex all the time because they
Mm.
were thinking that they were going to get sex all the time, and it didn't
Buffet.
happen. And it didn't happen. And so, if that's what you want, if you are whether you're a male or female, woman or
High
man,
desire. High desire.
if you have a high desire, if your libido is out the roof, and that's what you want, don't think that you're going to get it like that just because you say I do. That's not how
Mm-hmm.
it works. So you want to say, okay, look, these are the things that I am expecting of you as my wife, as my husband. And it doesn't have to just be sex. It could be, this is how we like our finances to go. This is how I want us to raise our children. This is how I want us to
Mm-hmm.
take vacations. This is how I want us to spend our quality time together. This is how I want us to communicate with one another. It's a lot of things, that can be talked about before you get
Mm-hmm.
married, and not think, oh, well, they're not doing it now, but once we get married, it'll all work out. Oh, you know what? They're not paying the bills on time right now, but once we get married, maybe they'll start paying the bills on time. No, it's just like we said before. What they're doing now, you're not breaking my back. You're not blowing my back out. I need you to blow my back out. No, it's like you got to be honest. If they're not doing it now, they're not going to
Mm-hmm.
do it later. So we talked about this earlier. You need to go ahead and tell the person what you want.
Tell
Tell
them
them
what's
what you
up.
want so that there won't be any kind of
Tell
confusion
me what
or,
you want.
hey,
Tell me what you need. Yeah.
yeah, you got to tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Don't expect your partner to be a mind reader. And women, we do this. We do this a lot. We go, well, he should have known. No, he shouldn't have had, because you
How
are a
could he
woman, and
know?
men and women think differently. We don't think the same. So you have to tell your partner what you want and have the whole part of this thing, the whole thing, and we're going to keep going. But I want to say this. The whole part of before you say I do is making sure that you sit down and have the necessary conversations, and not just going with the flow of the romance and the butterflies and all those emotions and planning the wedding day and not thinking
Mm-hmm.
about what's going to happen after you get married. Like, what's going to happen? Like Viola Davis has said on Black Love, she said that people are get committed to the wedding and not committed to the marriage. So you
Ooh,
have to do the work.
bars.
Right? So you have to do the work. You can't just commit to planning the wedding. You have to commit to the marriage, and the marriage is work. And work does not have to be a bad thing. People have a lot of people have the best careers of their life, and it doesn't even feel like work. But
Right.
whatever you want, whatever you really want, you're gonna have to work at it. And it doesn't mean that it's like, ball and chain, like the movies and TV
Mm-hmm.
has made us think that what marriage is. Marriage is not ball and chains. It's really loving someone and growing someone and building someone up, and y'all just enjoying life together, however y'all decide to enjoy life together in whatever way y'all say. But yeah.
Yo, funny story about that. So my wife and I, when we got married, I was working for this language school, and
Mm-hmm.
I told them I was going to get married and everything. So like probably about a week or so before, they had bought our apartment for us. And so they're like, okay, this is where
Mm-hmm.
you're going to move when you guys come back. And so, we went through, had the wedding, had a great time, went to the honeymoon, had a great time. Soon as we came back from the honeymoon, it hit me. I was like, oh, bro, like, we got real work to do now. Like, I got to go move everything into this apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And when we did that, we had, oh, is the cups going to go up here? Just literally, like the first 3 days after we got back
Mm-hmm.
from the honeymoon, I think that's the most arguing we did. And we
Wow.
were both like, wait a minute, did we just make the biggest mistake of our lives? Why are we arguing so much right out the gate?
Right.
Literally, like we just came back from Thailand. It was beautiful. We was eating
Right.
pineapples and jackfruit, and now we're
Right.
fighting about where the plates go. That's the reality of the situation. Just like that.
Right.
Um, but if you're with the right person, that stuff is nothing.
Right.
You'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, we straight.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Next
Exactly.
one.
Exactly.
Everyone you're attracted to is not compatible with you or good for you or your
Mm-hmm.
future. That last part,
Right.
that's the key.
For your future.
That's the
Mm-hmm.
key.
For your
It might
future.
be nice right now, but in
Mm-hmm.
10 years, is that what you want to be dealing with?
Right.
Question.
Right. Everything that's glitter is not gold, is what they say. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you definitely want to know that just because you're attracted to them sexually, which
Mm.
mostly, I mean, we all see each other, so we know what we like, what we don't like. Just
Mm-hmm.
because you're attracted to them does not mean that you are compatible with them as your life partner. And I, in a previous episode that we did, I said that Esther Perel, she is a LMFT, she said
Mm-hmm.
that you can love a lot of people. You can have connections with a lot of people, but there's only one person that you will be able to do life with for the rest of your life.
Mm.
So
Mm.
I can be attracted to a lot of people. I can have, let me tell you, I am really good at conversating. Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
can talk on the phone with people. I enjoy it. I like talking on the phone. But just because we have a great conversation that lasted maybe 2 or 3 hours does not mean that you will be my person for the rest of my life.
You
Because
better
usually
tell them that.
I'm having that long conversation so I can find out some things about you because I have children to think about. You're not just committing to me. I have to think about my children. So I have to think about the future. I can't just think about right now because, of course, I can entertain people of the right now, which I have. I have entertained people for a right now feeling. But when you take a step back, it's like, is this person really good for my future? Not just my
Guys,
present. Are they good for
guys,
my future? Right? Because at the
take
end of the
notes.
day, once that feeling is gone of, oh, they entertain me, I have so much fun with them. What happens when you stop having fun with them? Are you gonna want to be with them for the rest of your life? You know, they're gonna be hiccups. So yeah, so everybody that you're attracted to, that you have great conversations and y'all have good connections. Oh, we like football too. Oh, we like to go to the club too. Oh, we like to go to the movies too. Okay, but what else about them is like, okay, I could do life with this person, which means you have to give it time. You have to let time be your friend when you're getting to know someone because time will reveal a lot of things about that person once you continue to get to know them.
Yeah,
What
guys,
say
make
you?
sure that in these conversations you start
Right,
treating them like the tracker. All right,
right,
30 minutes. She doing more than just talking to me now. She's
right,
trying to find out what's going on. So you better do it as well. Don't because the guy, look,
right.
I'm gonna guarantee you, when I first started to actually, I remember there was a girl in college.
Hmm.
We had a long conversation. Bro, I was so oblivious to what was happening. I was just sitting up there talking and talking. And the next
Right,
day, I never, I mean, this was like we talked like into the night. And I
right,
left next day, just whatever. Next week, just whatever. My friend was
right.
like, bro, did you drop the bag? I was like, what are you talking about? Like, yo, that girl he was talking to, she's very confused right now. She thought y'all was about to engage, and
Right.
you were just over here eating hot dogs on the grass. I was like, yeah, my bad. I kind of dropped the ball there, I guess.
Uh,
Yeah. So guys, be engaged. You might
right,
you might be missing information that you need, as
right.
well.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, no, don't make it like a whole suspicious game, like y'all,
Right,
but enjoy it, but take some practical steps out of it.
right.
The last one,
Exactly.
I committed to the act of marriage. Now, this is a Tierra Monique original right here. I
Right,
committed to the act of marriage and not the work of marriage. Preach
right.
that word right there.
Right. So yeah, so I mentioned that I mentioned the quote that Viola Davis has said about people not
Mm,
committing to the everyday. And so I know for me, and when I was married, I committed to getting married. Oh yes, I
mm,
want to get married. I want to get married so bad because I wanted somebody to take care of me because I was spoiled. So I was like, "Ooh, this other person's gonna take care of me too," but I was not committing to the work of the marriage.
mm,
And so you
mm.
have to remember that you have to, before you say I do, am I going to commit to the work or am I not going to commit to the work? Am I going to am I going to be there? Can you stand the rain type? So can you be
Mm.
there when things aren't going your way? I was a very selfish person. I was a very selfish wife. I was two things can exist, and I learned this from Melissa
Mm-hmm.
Frederick, that two things can always exist. I was selfish, but I also was supportive. Okay, so get this.
Mm.
So I was very supportive of his job because he was in the military. So I made sure that he was good. When he went to work, I made sure that I cooked and cleaned and took care of the home and took care of our kids. And I always went to all the functions for the military, all this good stuff. I was very supportive. I helped him with his evals, all that good stuff. I was very supportive in that aspect. But then I was
Mm.
very selfish that when things didn't go my way, I acted like a child. I threw a tantrum, basically a grown woman tantrum, and I would act up and I would get mad and I would throw things back in his face that happened in the past, and I would bring it back up because I wasn't getting my way. So it was like, you have to realize that the work is that even when I don't get my way, I can't act that way. I can't get selfish. I can't throw a tantrum. I go, okay, well, I didn't get my way this time, but I'm still going to serve you. I'm still going to support you. I'm still going to motivate you. I'm still going to encourage you. And this is when I'm going to go to God about you. I'm going to go to God about me. I'm going to say, God, help me to be patient in what I'm wanting from my husband, and help my husband see me and hear me for what I'm asking for. I'm not going to complain and say, oh, he a deadbeat. Oh, blah, blah, blah. No, God, help me to see what I need to change about me. And then please help my husband see what he needs to change about himself. That's it. And that should be the prayer. That's it. So, yeah. So,
And hopefully your husband is also praying that same prayer
right,
as well.
right.
And
right.
if you guys are on that mindset, then the result is going to be success.
Right. And I want to add this because this wasn't on the list, but it just came to me when I just said something about prayer. Before you say I do, establish a good prayer life between the two of y'all as a couple. Because you will not. Now, this is coming from a faith-based standpoint. If you don't believe this, whatever your higher power is, okay. If you don't have God in the center of your relationship, it's going to crumble because you're both going to try to love each other in your own strength, and you cannot. So try to establish a good prayer life in the beginning so that when you do get married, it will just cross over into your marriage. So pray for one another and pray with each other, especially when things are not going great. You definitely want to pray when things aren't going great. But yeah.
Yeah. And I forgot where I heard this, but I know where it was. My home girl, Lauren Spearman. Hold up, let me make sure I'm saying her name right. I'll be messing up everybody's name today. I was calling Carolyn. Let me just make sure I get it. Spearman, yeah, Lauren Spearman. All right, so she had a podcast called Check on Your Strong Friends. And I remember one episode, she was interviewing this dude, and he was talking about there is a difference between your wife telling you that she prayed for you and your wife praying for you. Like if you're in that moment and like let's say you get home from work that day and your wife says, yeah, I prayed for you today. Yeah, that's great. Beautiful. But man, how much better it feels when you're headed out and she stops you and prays for you right there. And then you head out. Man, that feeling is just like, woo. Right. That's good. That's good. So yeah, we should be doing that for each other, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's this. Okay, so this is kind of a little bit of a carryover from last week.
Right.
And I'm still learning this myself, which is weird because it seems like on this issue, most men would be like, yeah, that's what's up. Let's get it popping. Right. This idea about leadership and submission with the heads of household. And again, this is for Christian households are the ones that are mostly subscribing to this. The thing that I always am trying to learn is the balance between sharing the leadership in the house versus the man is the leader and the wife is the what is it even called? The follower?
The man is the leader and the wife is the
The
what?
man is the leader, is the wife is the what? The follower?
Oh, I don't
How would you
know.
say that? Yeah,
He's a leader. Well, he's
he's a
my
leader.
I'm his help. I'm his helper.
Okay,
I am
leader and
I am
helper. Leader and
basically
helper.
he's the head coach and I'm the assistant coach. If you want to do
Got you.
that,
Okay.
sports
Yeah, there we
football
go.
is
There
in
we go.
football is in
Yeah,
session. So he's
yeah,
the head
football's in
coach.
sessions.
He's
Let's
the head
go.
coach and I'm the assistant coach. So we
All
both
right.
need each other, in
Yes.
order for our team, which is our marriage, to work. So yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in that, when we were talking about that last week, the part that was this presentation that was kind of like the spiritual backing for that
Mm-hmm.
concept,
Right.
Jackie Hill Perry was talking about the concept of submission. And
Mm-hmm.
so she kind of gave these challenges. So I guess this one is a little more directed towards the ladies and, you know, evaluating yourself if you're wanting to have a godly or
Right.
God-led relationship. And she gave
Right.
these challenges. So I want to know what y'all think about this. The challenges she said is um, you should be looking for a man who models godliness, men who are consistent, men who are wise, men who value who you are as
Mm-hmm.
a partner, as a woman, all of those things. So men, obviously, counterintuitively, you can see what you should be working on. But I
Right.
also want to know the perspective of how does a woman who desires this relationship to be this way,
Mm-hmm.
how do you prepare yourself to
Mm-hmm.
be a submissive woman, a submissive partner for your spouse? What are your thoughts on that?
How do you prepare to be a submissive spouse?
Mm,
I think it's a heart thing. I think you have to ignore all of the narrative and everything that that was told to you about submission, because submission was told to us that it was like a very degrading thing. Like
mm.
the husband is dominant, he's a dictator of the house, and then whatever he says, basically, like, you are Vanessa Bell Calloway on Coming to America. Like,
Oh Lord,
I want to,
still
whatever
barking
you
in the
like,
corner. Mm-hmm.
right? You Whatever you like, and so you have to take that out and really go to the heart of what God says about submission. We're supposed to submit one to another,
Mm-hmm.
but then you have order. So you have God, your spouse, and then your children, and then your ministry. So remembering that I'm not submitting to him as a servant. Like, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
his servant, I'm not his employee. I'm submitting to him as the head of the household because he submits to God. So with that being said, you want to be able to have a conversation with your your bae, about what
Mm-hmm.
they view submission as. Like, I had this conversation. Like, I asked somebody, "How do you feel about submission? What is your definition of submission for you?" And then you give your definition, and then y'all can talk about it, because you don't want there to be any assumptions that, okay, whatever I say goes, and that's not what you're thinking. You're thinking that, okay, my husband is he's going to be the head of the household, but he's also going to respect me, and he's going to listen to me, and he's going to value my opinion and what I say about certain things. So you want to have that conversation. I don't think anything's wrong with submission, as long as you are submitting to someone who is a true leader. And that's the whole thing. Ladies, we have to make sure that we are picking men who can lead us and who we will want to follow. If you wouldn't follow him into the jungle, trusting him that he's going to take you through the jungle, y'all going to get out of the jungle and get to that Amazon waterfall, then why are you following him? Why are you with him? You have to be able, if you don't trust somebody's word, and like I said, if you don't trust that if he's not showing that he's consistent, that he's wise, and wise meaning that he thinks before he does something, and that he also has somebody that he bounce ideas off of. He's not just doing stuff. He's not being what's the word? I can't think of it. Gosh, it left me. But anyway, he's
Mm-hmm.
just not doing stuff. I'm just gonna do it. And he's
Arbitrary, being arbitrary.
um No, just like somebody who's like impulsive, like somebody who's an impulsive
Oh,
person.
impulsive. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they don't take a step back and think about things first before they do
Oh,
it. So
yeah.
if he's not being consistent with you, if he's not being wise, if he's not being patient and taking a step back, and if he is not what was the other one that she said, and if he doesn't value you, then why do you want to
Yeah.
be with him? And I think, but also I think the same way as far as men. If she's not consistent with you, if she's not calling you, if she's not texting you, if she's not being consistent on the things that she said she's going to do as far as like keeping her word, if she's not being consistent on loving you all the time, or just she's only loving you when she gets her way, but she's not loving you when she doesn't get her way. If she doesn't value you as a man and what you bring to the relationship, then why do you want to be with her? Because beauty fades. And that Fashion Nova IG body, it looked good right now, but what about her heart? You know, is she gonna be there? Is she gonna be the ride or die that you want? Is she gonna be in your corner? You know, when stuff goes down. You know, if you lose your job, is she gonna leave you or is she gonna stay? You know, you have to you have to really take time to think about that when it comes
Yeah.
to being when it comes to a leader and someone who's going to be your helpmate.
Carol got it right on the head here. Um, wow, everybody, check out her comment. I have a funny story about this. So I am. Here's my headspace with this. I am. I
Yes.
grew up thinking, okay, we're equal.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I sort of looked at my leadershipness
Mm-hmm.
as maintaining the equalness
Right.
because, a lot of times in society, men think this way. I know when I was to my church, the first church that I was at, one of the elders, he kept talking to me. He was like, you got to control your kids. Your wife can't do it. You done all this stuff. And I got into this big argument with him about how we're equals and all this stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
since I've been hearing this presentation, I've been, looking at scripture and trying to think about this in a different way because I think my view coming in was more of the toxic version, which is like the
Mm-hmm.
man is this dominant leader and everybody
Mm-hmm.
just is a servant to him or whatever. So
Right.
I was like, I remember like last week I was trying to I say, okay, let me try to assume this role and try to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
something happened, like the kids were arguing and going crazy, da 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 da. And I was like, all right, everybody is coming to the room. We're gonna talk about it. All right. And my wife was busy doing something, but I don't know, the nerves, the juice or whatever, like the adrenaline was going. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, I was like, okay, come on, we're gonna all sit down and talk. And my wife, she was doing something. She was like, I gotta go. I gotta do it. And I said, and she was like, what? She stopped in her tracks. She was like, I am
Mm-hmm.
not your child. Do not
Right.
talk to me like that. And she bounced out. And I was like, oh, dude, that was that was my bad for sure. That was that
Right.
was that was my fault. I
Mm-hmm.
totally got into that toxic, hey, I'm the man, I'm the leader,
Right.
everybody
Right.
listen to me, I'm the
Right.
commander, your voice doesn't matter kind of thing. And that was, I mean, now and so here's what was the good part about it, which I think is something that I did develop before we got married, is I am very I very easily can admit when I'm wrong and apologize.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have no problem
Okay.
taking doing that immediately. But I remember thinking that, like, yeah, part of my whole uh, aversion to that model of relationship, it
Mm-hmm.
was the fact that I viewed it in that more dominant, controlling role as opposed
Right.
to a partnership where partners are taking positions. You know, so I will admit I'm still looking through that. I'm still working through it, but I see how it could positively work if both partners are on board.
Yes.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what
Yep.
America said. Okay.
That's
Uh,
Carol.
yeah, Carol.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna get to America in a second. She
Yeah, I
said
think
something
people
real cool.
sometimes get caught up on accepting things, the behavior they're seeing, and accepting is all they know. It's like being in an abusive relationship. Yes, and it's not
Mm, mm,
Carol because it's of what they were taught indirectly by what they saw growing up. So if they saw Big Mama or Mama or Grandma or whoever always just saying, okay, okay, all right, just letting things go and not being heard, then you can grow up the same way. It's like it's two things can happen. Either you can go in a direction that's opposite of that toxic relationship, or you can fall in line with that toxic relationship. So is that America said something too? Can you bring that up? She
Yeah,
said,
I'm gonna bring that up.
I agree. It starts by knowing who you are and the importance of your role as an assistant coach, accepting that the assistant coach may have to take the lead on different things. Exactly. Sometimes the coach might not be around. Coach got COVID, he got sick, and the assistant coach got to step in, or he got hot-headed and got ejected. And you gotta take that role. And so it's basically the head coach knowing that, or that let's go back to people. So it's like your husband knowing that, even though I am the head of the household, you are important. I value you as my spouse, as my helper, because you are here to help me, because I don't know it all. I don't know it all, and I'm not supposed to know it all. You don't know it all, and you're not supposed to know it all. But when I don't know it, I know you got my back. It's like knowing that somebody's got my back. Or if you want to go back to sports, it's having a quarterback and the backup quarterback. It's like, when I can't do it, when I get sick, when I get hurt, I know that all I gotta do is call for you, and you're gonna be there to step in to take care of everything. So yeah.
And you got to be a person that knows how to facilitate, I think, because I remember we were watching the episode of part of the Black Love series, and Kev on stage and Melissa, Kevin and Melissa was talking about how she handles the finances. And he had this whole thing with this deacon in his church. He was like, "You let her have the money." He's like, "No, she's better with money. She's more organized." And I remember in my family, it was the same way. My mom was the one who managed the money. My dad was the smart one to be like, "Yeah, I'm not the one who should be managing this, because I'll get a whim one day and be like, you know what, guys, we need to get X, Y, and Z, but forgot about that one bill over there." And it's but my mom was organized, so she did that. And I think part of being a good leader is recognizing where the strength is, and facilitating the leadership to be given to your partner in that space as well. So yeah, I think it's a good balance. It is very needed. And if it's done without the toxic view, it can really, really bolster the relationship and be a good model for your kids, so that they expect that as they're going, when they come into their own relationships as well.
Right.
Whew, okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
I'll just say we have some last tips that we're going to go through before we close this one out. I hope y'all are getting some good stuff. Thank you for the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Absolutely. Keep it going. You see them. You see it running down there. Real quick, before we get to our tips, I just want to tell you these 4 questions that Pastor Mildred Kingsley Okonkwo. Ooh, did I say that right? Okonkwo, I think.
Know.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know. We sorry, Pastor Mildred, if we jacked your name up. We gonna meet you one day, and you're gonna fix it for us. But she had these questions that are really good to consider, especially if you're in a Christian relationship. All right, and I'm gonna just tell you the questions, and if one of them strikes you, let me know. But these were the questions. She says, does this relationship worship God? Right? Can you be who you are in God, and the relationship doesn't take away from that? Second one, is your relationship working? Like, is it actually something that makes you a better person, or does it tear you down? Like, why would you marry a person that's making you a worse person? They're not helping you grow. You wouldn't want to do that. The third question she has is your relationship worth it? Right? Is your relationship something that, like, yes, I want to be in this because I see the value in it? Or are you just married because it's like, all right, well, shoot, I'm XYZ age, and this is who's available right now. Let me not let that slip away. Or, my family's talking about my
Right.
it ain't gonna get easier. I guess I might as well just go ahead and settle into this thing. Nah, man, if it ain't worth it, don't do it. But if it is worth it, keep pursuing it. And
Right.
then her last question was, is your relationship word ruled? Meaning the word of God. Like, does the things that the Bible teaches about a healthy, good relationship, do you find those things manifesting themselves in your relationship, or are you having to stretch and make it work, or is it just not there at all? If any of that is out of sync, is this a relationship that you want to now take to the next level of
Right.
marriage?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, and she said, understand this. Your singleness is a gift. It's not a curse. It's not a burden. It is actually the
Mm-hmm.
time where you get to grow, develop yourself. It's the time where you get to really think about what you want to be. You have not made the mistake of connecting to the wrong mate yet. So use this time to your advantage. Remember that God is a matchmaking God. God will put you with the person that you need to be when you determine that you're going to be the person that you need to be for God. So if you are on that mindset, God's like, all right, we're tracking together. I'm gonna hook you up. So things to
Right.
consider. Some things to
But
consider.
I would say that with that, even though she said
Mm-hmm.
that you serve a God who's a major matchmaker, you still
Mm-hmm.
have to be open to the person that God presents to you. So God does not make us marry anybody. He does not
Right.
make us get with anybody. He will present someone to you in a very organic way. It could be at your job, it can be at church, it could be at a sporting event, it could be anywhere. And basically you have to be in a space where you are open and ready to receive that person. And I think you'll be able to know that the more time that you spend with God, and the more time you also, outside of that, if you're not, faith-based, your non-negotiables. If
Mm-hmm.
you have those non-negotiables, you will stick to those and you will look at them every day. Okay, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I need in my life. Not just want. This is what I need. I focus on what I
Mm-hmm.
need, not what I want. But if I focus on what I need, my needs will become my wants because my needs will line up with what God wants for me. So that's why I said my needs are already going to be my wants. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be in line with who you are and what you really need in your life. And like there was one question that was like a sub question. It was like, does this relationship make you better? So is this
Mm-hmm.
person making me better or do I feel worse? Am I
Yeah.
tiptoeing back into things that I was trying to, break free from? And here I am, I'm going in the wrong direction. Is this person making me better? Are they helping me? When they see me struggling, are they there to help me?
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's
Yeah. So,
facts.
yeah.
Shout out to my mom. What's up, mom?
Hi,
I did
mom.
recognize that you did that. I did recognize that you did it. So I use it. I'm getting better, but I'll make you proud soon. I'll make you proud soon.
Yeah, that's right, Sean. People do settle. People do settle, and you should not settle. You should not settle because the person that
Don't
you,
do
this is
it.
what I hear all the time. The person, it is very important for you to recognize before you say I do that the person that you connect with for the rest of your life is going to make you or break you. That person is the most important person that you need to have in your life because you're going to be with them 24/7. And if you're with someone who is going to break you every day, then you just set yourself back for any kind of growth. You're going to be trying to grow while somebody is
Right.
constantly pulling you back. It's like I'm never going to be able to grow because this person's always pulling me down. This person's always pulling me back. So yeah, that person that you link up with, that you say I'm going to commit to them for the rest of my life, and you don't know when the rest of your life is going to be. You don't know when it's going to end, but that is the most important person that you link up with outside of your relationship with God. So remember that.
Remember that, man. We got a couple tips, and we're gonna close it off
Yeah.
for today.
Yeah.
How you want
All
to do
right.
it? You want to give all your tips? You want to go back and forth? How you want to do it?
No, I'm just going to go through them. I'll go through mine and then you can
Okay.
go through yours.
All right.
So my tips are one, go to couples counseling or premarital counseling. Okay. And I say couples counseling because it's very important. If you're in a committed relationship and you've talked about marriage, but y'all haven't gotten there yet, it's still good to go to couples counseling so you can find out some things. I put a little sub note, find out about someone's mental health issues. So we we are dealing with in 2022, and we've been dealing with it for a long time. People are having mental breakdowns, and people are finding out that they have something that they never knew they had. They're dealing with depression, anxiety, or whatever. So it's very important to go to couples counseling and go to premarital counseling so someone who doesn't know you really or kind of know you, they don't know everything, they can ask you questions that you probably haven't asked each other. Because I'm pretty sure you're like, why we talk about everything. No, not really. You don't talk about everything. To go over each other's credit report and finances. So you may not want to do this if you have bad credit or you have a problem with your spending, but it's important for your partner to know, what they're going to be marrying into. Because once you get married, it's like, okay, we can't buy this house now and you can't be on the mortgage because you got all this debt. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you got debt, okay. So if this person is the person that's going to be with the rest of my life and they really love me, once I tell them, okay, this is what's going on with my finances, they should be like, okay, let's see how I can help you. Because again, that would be my weakness and that's their strength. So if they're really strong in that area of paying their stuff on time, then they'll be able to help me with a budget. Also, choose wisely with the ending in mind. I just talked about that. It's very important for you to remember that the ending in mind is not divorce. The ending in mind is a lifetime partnership with someone who you will grow old with, who you will raise your children with, who you will do all things in life with, the ups and the downs, the good and the bad. And so you want to choose wisely, knowing that when you are 80 something years old, that you're not always looking at them going, I can't wait for them to die.
Lord!
You don't want that. You don't want that.
Did she poison my coffee this morning?
I know, right? I don't even want to drink it. You don't even want her to make your breakfast because you're scared. The other thing is entertain prenups and postnups. Nothing wrong with a prenup, y'all. Especially, I've learned that prenups are not just for people who are rich. Prenups are for everybody. So if there's something that you want, like we just talked about, what you want in your marriage, you can put it in a prenup. You can put it in a prenup. I'm just saying, don't forget that. Go on a road trip together. That way you can find out how people are. If all y'all do is go on dates and y'all only are around each other for 2 hours, that's not gonna work. You can really learn a lot about somebody if you go on a road trip with them. You can see how they act, how they act with other people, how they are when they get irritated, when they get tired, all that good stuff. So go on a little weekend road trip together and do some life together. Also, I think I talked about this earlier. Talk about, before you say I do, how do you both want to have sex with each other? This is very important. Does it always have to include penetration? Does it always have to include this or that or whatever? You need to figure out how do you want to have sex with each other. And even if you are having sex now before you get married, no judgment, you still want to ask yourself, how do I want to have sex with you? If this you're a monogamous relationship, y'all having sex with each other, it happens. So how do you want to continue to have sex with each other? Are you down with the freak? Are you down with tie me up? Put blindfolds
Where
on
you
my
at?
Where you at with that? I mean, is it a yes or a no? So those are my good tips. I said good.
Wow. Carol's trying to put
good.
somebody to work, bro. Yo, be on the lookout. Be on the lookout, y'all.
All right.
Yeah, let me go with mine.
Okay.
Kind of going in that same vein. Talk about the body count, man.
Yeah.
If you haven't done that, there's two reasons. One, you kind of know somebody's practices and how they sort of think in that way. And then the second thing is, I used to hear this. I don't hear this so much anymore, but people used to actually say that you should get tested before you get married. you got to know what your partner's situation is or not.
Right.
I understand people's like, yeah, that's my personal middle ground. It's like, nah, but if you're going to do life with somebody, if you're going to be romantically intimate with each other,
Right.
that now becomes part of their life. So that is
Right.
very important for you to understand those things about
Right.
each other. The next one I had is understand the family. You are not just marrying your partner, you are marrying into a family. Understand, like we were talking about before, family trauma.
Uh-huh.
You got to know what's been in that person's family, because if there has been an issue throughout their family, they may be extra paranoid about that, and
Right.
something that may be very lighthearted to you,
Right.
they may take it, they may go like 100, and you're like, yo, why are you jumping on off the rails on me about this thing?
Right.
And they're
Right.
like, hey man, this is what happened in my family, and that's why this is very important that we nip this in the bud, or whatever, however you have to address the concern. And
Right.
then you as a partner, you got to know that, you got to know that about your partner. The other thing is family culture. Do you
Mm-hmm.
have a person whose family is all up on each other? Like they do
Right.
everything together. And if
Right.
you're not a person who is like that, you're like, all right, I gotta brace myself for that. If you could know
Right.
about it beforehand, you could, that may be
Right.
a deal breaker sometimes. Like, looks, man, every time we go on vacation, it's not gonna be me and you and your cousin and your mom and your aunt and your grandmother's best friend's Lou. I can't stand Lou. All right, so you gotta know those things.
Right.
I think, similar to you, what you were saying about take a trip together. I
Mm-hmm.
think you got to find some type of simulation,
Mm-hmm.
some way where you get to experience what real life is like together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this kind of, I know all the church people are going to be kind of like raising their eyebrows at me at this, but I think you should live together
Mm-hmm.
before. You need to probably set some rules, because things could happen that you probably don't want to happen. So you could set some rules. You could, even if it's like, okay, at the end of the day, we're gonna go home. But we're gonna do the day together. We're gonna spend the day together. I don't know exactly how you would work it out, but I think you should find some time. Just like anything else, you get to try and experience before you
Right.
get married, or before you commit. You
Right.
should do that with this as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you pray to the Lord on how you do that, but I think it should happen, because you got to make an educated decision, people. You got to make an educated decision. All right,
Right.
next one. Get advice. Get some wise counsel from experienced
Right.
couples, even from the opposite sex.
Mm-hmm.
I seen this one exercise where there was a couple, and I think it was like their engagement party. They had a like a time where the woman that was getting married, she went into the room and had a discussion with all of the experienced men. And
Mm-hmm.
then the man that was getting married, he went into a room with all the experienced women, and they had their
Right.
own conversations, giving those perspectives. Because a lot of times, what happens prior to marriage, you're getting a lot of advice, but it's from the same sex. So, like, the men are getting advice from the men, the women are getting
Right.
advice from the women. But I think one of the most valuable things, conversations I had before my marriage, was a conversation I had with my mom, and it
Mm-hmm.
was, I don't know, it might have just been like a week or two before the wedding, and she
Right.
was telling me things that you need to consider for your wife. You need to think about, even something. I remember one thing she told me was like, listen, you have friends that are women,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nothing wrong with that, but they cannot be the priority. Your
Exactly.
wife must always be the priority. It doesn't matter
Exactly.
if it was your best friend from birth.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your wife, not
Right.
the priority anymore.
Exactly.
And I that was very valuable to me, because I never would have thought of it like that. I would have,
Mm-hmm.
prior to that, it could have been like, man, my wife is getting mad about this person, but we've been friends since before I even knew them. Why is she getting mad? So that's the perspective that I didn't have, that I would
Right.
get. And then the last thing, um,
Mm-hmm.
watch videos, read books, look at material that
Mm-hmm.
talks about marriage type things,
Right.
right?
Right.
Or even like we were talking before, you could even look at some of the reality shows and then
Mm-hmm.
discuss with your partner
Right.
what you think about those things,
Right.
because more than likely at some point they will come into your relationship, and you should know where you stand on these various
Right.
things, you know.
Right. Right.
um, yeah. Last
Yep.
thing I have is a scripture, and then I'll let you
Okay.
finish it off. My scripture
Okay.
is Romans 12:2, and it says, "Don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the good will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." If you are if your main focus is getting yourself in tune with what is good, what is right, helping God to get you right mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, you'll be ready when whatever person comes. You'll know, ooh, this vibes with me, or
Right.
nah, this is not where we're at, because
Mm-hmm.
you're in tune, you're in sync, you're grounded and focused. So if you can get that,
Right.
then you're good to go. That's all I
Exactly.
got.
That's good. That's some good
Any
stuff.
finals for you?
All I
Yeah,
would say
mom.
is
Of course, mom.
before you say I do, even if you're not in a relationship right now, but before you say I do, do the work on yourself. Like really tap into, healing yourself. Don't try to go into a relationship or into a marriage where you still have not dealt with what's going on inside of you, because you want to be healed. Now, healing
Yeah.
is a continual thing, but you want to be healed in an area that is really challenging you. And so I would say, before you say I do, make sure you do the work, to make sure that you are ready for a long lasting relationship and marriage. I want to point out something right quick. Sean said, I don't need a
Mm-hmm.
ride or die, I need a ride and try. Someone that's going to ride with me and try to get through any obstacle we face together. That's
Mm.
good. But you don't want somebody to just try to get through it. You want somebody to get through it with you. Like, I'm here.
Get through it, brother.
No, we don't just want to try. We want to do. But
Yeah.
I
Because
like that.
somebody that tried may leave you high and dry at your at
Right.
your darkest moment. You'd be like, "Help me," and
Exactly.
they're like, "I tried."
Yep. So, but thank
They
y'all so
slide off.
I know, thank y'all so much for joining us today. We went a little bit over, but we
Yes.
appreciate y'all. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Don't just watch the video. Make sure you like. Also, when you're listening
Mm-hmm.
onto, Anchor or Spotify or Apple, make sure you get up a 5-star rating so we can get into the algorithm,
Yeah.
the
Algorithm.
algorithm,
Mm-hmm.
right? The
Mm-hmm.
algorithm of love, the love and
Yes.
relationship podcast. So yeah, tell everybody about us, and don't
Mm-hmm.
forget to come back next time. Okay,
Yeah, man. You guys make it
right?
so much fun and exciting. So it's great, man. Be blessed. Peace, peace. And remember, man, that's the way love goes,
Oh,
baby.
bye.
Bye.